Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful morning, and we are here on our podcast. It's called Recovery Talk with Glenn and John, and you can go to our site. It's at Recovery. Let's talk about it 444. We're going to be talking about something today that I'm very, very familiar with, and that is called impulse decisions. Glenn.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before. If there's a dictionary around, like I said, my name, my face, my picture will be in it. Impulse decisions. That is me. So over the years, I've learned not to do those things. It can be financially, it could be anything. It could buy in a car. I have learned to ask for their opinions. I've learned to ask for advice. I have, and it has worked because the one thing I would can take away from an impulse decision is I wanted to do it my way. I didn't care what you had to say. I wanted it. I was going to get it. And no one was going to tell me anything. And what would happen was I would do it, and it would be catastrophic. The payment of a truck, $700, whatever, just crazy, ridiculous ideas. So over the course of time, I've learned not to do that. But we're going to be talking about impulse decisions, and I think as time goes on, we'll kind of weigh out what and what not to do a little bit. What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah. Good morning to you and all our viewers. All five that we have out there, it seems, but we're early on. We're early. It's early.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a great joy always, Johnny, man, to do this podcast and really get the word out. It's a desire to try to just help, get some good information and help others. So.
Right.
And where we're sitting at in our journey years along the way, it's actually difficult to go back to try to relate and be reminded of what it was like coming in and really the newcomer or somebody that's trying to turn their life around or learn about these things that have some serious consequences. And so, we kind of go back in time, but yeah, exteriorly, when you talk about the car and the payment, and those kind of decisions that seemingly we're going to, there's this trick that my mind says that there's going to be a reward or a payoff in those external things. And I come to find out that it's very temporal. The consequences always outweigh the benefits.
Yes.
Now, when you bring that inside the four walls of my home and you watch me react impulsively to fear, which is really what it's based from, it's why I react the way I do.
Right.
Because that I have a lot of things that I haven't dealt with that I'm trying to control. And that fear that I feel when somebody says something to me that I don't like causes me to react very quickly and impulsively, which always leads to consequences and argument and fights. So we get down to the root of it all eventually.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It's a process, they told me.
It actually, it comes in all different forms, whether it be at work, whether it be anywhere, whether it be with the family. I have realized this, that when you push my invisible scars and you start to mess with my insecurities, over the years, I will make emotional decisions that are very immature, and that's an impulse decision instead of using the tools that have been given to me, and that is to pause for a second, to just think about it, and so even when I was, when we were getting this podcast going, we were going to we were going to get everything all at once, right? You remember that, Glenn?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I said to Glenn, I said, I think we should slow down, think about it, and come back to it later. And we did.
Take it easy. Take
Take it
it easy.
easy. Because we were going to get everything all at once, cameras, everything. And we were excited about it. And I was able to say to Glenn, I think we should think about it. I think we, do some research on it.
Yeah.
And we did. And what's happening here is everything that we have learned over the years is coming together now. It's coming together because we're using the tools that have been given to us. And that is huge for me. I'm telling you, if like my wife knows that I do make impulse decisions, but I'm getting better at it, especially when it comes to money, especially when it comes to buying something. I want a boat. I want this, I want that. But I've learned just to think about it, talk about it, and let it fester overnight to where I can digest buying it, the consequences, and as time goes on, it gets better because I'm making healthy decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there it is. There it is. Healthy decisions.
decision making.
But it hurts, man, when those
Yeah.
scars are touched. When somebody touches them, man, it's the same thing that we talk about. It's the survival skills that we learned growing up and in our life. We learned that's how we're supposed to react when people touch our scars, because that's really all we knew until recovery, until we came in. So we've worked through it, our few last podcasts, and we're trying to journey through the steps really, without talking about them particularly, but we talked about the powerlessness and really the unmanageability and hope, and really what it means to turn our wills and our lives over to God, and try to get through these steps and get to 4 and start to learn about, why are we doing the things. We know what we're doing. It's just figuring out, okay, well, why am I doing this? Why am I being such an idiot? Why am I so impulsive? And these are all learned behaviors that we came in with. So to unlearn all of that stuff, we actually have to practice and try new things. And yeah, that comes through, the mentorship, the sponsorship, the steps themselves, and doing the work. But mainly, here it is. Sorry to say, it's the truth. It's making the mistake and understanding, okay, now it gives me, which I've learned lately, it's just an opportunity. And what it is an opportunity.
It is not a problem.
Go back and actually make the wrong right, or I can implement the right principle and try to retrain and teach myself these principles that work. They help develop responsible, productive lives, Johnny. They really do.
Yeah. It's healthy decision making. That's what it comes down to. And as time goes on, you have to go through those stages, those emotional stages, to where I had a guy, one of my sponsees, he's not with us anymore, but he had maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like a month he had. And all of a sudden he wanted to go get a car at this car lot, and the interest rate was 23%. It was, oh, I need to get to work. Not really. I said, just slow down a little bit. He made that decision. And what happened was he got the car, but because he still had those old behaviors, he deviated away into an area where he got what he used to get. And one time, boom, done. That fentanyl is crazy. So when you make these decisions, we have to look at what is the long-term effect. And because it's pleasure right now of getting what I want, but what are the consequences? And the consequences are very catastrophic. Well, for me anyway. So so it's just crazy how I look back and I realize the things that I used to do, impulse decisions, and it really, I laugh about it now, but I do things different, and I've incorporated these behaviors over the years of asking for advice, to slow down, to just stop for a second and sit, talk about it. What do you think? You know, and after a while, you digest that, you get it, you realize, okay, that's not a great idea. Maybe later on, and you approach it differently as time goes on. So,
Wow. A 4-letter word, really hard in the beginning. Help. Help. Simple. Actually, one of the easiest prayers ever. Really, it's one of the most easiest prayers you'll ever find. Help. It is difficult at first, but it's required. And so, but like you say, the consequences will ensue and the beatings will continue.
Yes, they will.
We get to the point where, the truth is that we have this deep desire for fulfillment and satisfaction, peace and joy. We want to be responsible and productive, and there's a drive towards that. So as long as the willingness to be teachable is there, we can still strive for that goal, which, yes, ultimately our behaviors have a lot to do with it. So if I can always come to that point of what I'm doing is not working, if I'm suffering consequences, I need to come in agreement with what I'm doing. It ain't working. If I'm suffering, it ain't working.
Yeah.
So let's try something new. And like you said, seeking a multitude of counsel, wisdom, those that I went before us to teach me really the principles of really what it means to right our wrongs. But these are real natural, you can be sober and you can, for whatever it is that you're in recovery for, you can have overcome that and still switch it out for many other things that just replace the thing that you actually are working on.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful.
Short-term pleasure. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you, I'm thinking about in the beginning of my recovery, one of the things that I would say to someone that's new is the impulse decision of, say, like you go into a halfway house and you want to move out quickly. It's very, very, I did the research for you. It doesn't work. I needed structure in the beginning, and I moved out of there quickly, and I had my old bad habits, and I went right back to what I was doing, and it was ridiculous. And I could have stayed there, going to meetings, had a good structure. And this is in Pompano Beach. Glenn, you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So my advice and experience is that if someone is in recovery and at a halfway house or something like that, that they would actually go ahead and pause, talk about it. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm going to move here, or I want to do this. And what happens is you're playing life like chess, not like checkers. I would do that. I would just do an impulse decision just to do it, instead of looking at my men, or looking at, as you would say, just looking at my options and seeing exactly, what do you think about this? This is what I'm going to do. Once you can start doing that, you start growing spiritually, mentally, physically, and then you start making healthy decisions. Decisions.
I think, Johnny, it was even suggested that I wasn't even supposed to think for myself for the first year. I was told that don't think for yourself. Your thinking's you're thinking screwed up, man. You need to let somebody else that's been down the road a ways, been here a while, think for you and help make the decisions for you and love you until you can learn to love yourself and think responsibly and productively. So I was told, don't even think for yourself. If you're going to make a decision, call me. Let's talk about it. I'll let you know. Yeah. So that's some good advice.
Keep it simple. That's
pretty simple.
To keep it simple, and then just because what we want to do is we want to establish um, a healthy routine in our life, a healthy lifestyle. So keeping it simple without making an impulse decision early in our recovery is actually going to meetings, establishing healthy relationships, getting numbers, getting phone numbers, starting to talk to them. And as
Yep.
time goes on, you're going to start, as far as you're going to start to really feel a little bit more confident about yourself. You're going to be able to feel confident about talking to someone, getting their advice, not being defensive. And that is the key. And I never knew that.
Yep.
I don't get defensive anymore. I ask for advice even after 15 years of being in the program. It's just crazy how I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? What the heck? So yeah, easy does it. Take it easy on yourself, ask for advice,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
I
an
mean,
emergency, not an emergency to make an impulse decision right now, you know? So
it's not. It's not exactly.
yeah.
And so, I mean, on the inside, you know, really what it comes down to is it is simple. Like you're saying, it's simple. Ask, but it's good to relate and understand that we all want for good to come. There's this desired outcome. As men, specifically as we speak as men, but for all of us in recovery, we want to become the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time. It's a process.
Mm.
It doesn't, there is no instant gratification. It's work and effort, willingness and teachability continually over and over and over until we learn to just develop those good patterns, the responsible, productive patterns. But really, the unresolved, the conflict and the anger that's unresolved. And when we look at it in four, man, it's detrimental that we understand that truthfully, even when we look at something good, and I want it, whether it's externally or in a relationship, there's a fear that says if I don't have that thing, then I'm not going to be satisfied. Or if I don't actually get my wife to think about me differently than what she just said, then something's wrong with me. So we're plagued with a lot of low self-esteem and
There it is.
insecurities.
There it
It
is.
it's crazy that we can start to identify these things and not play into them, not let fear push us further deeper into it, but actually take suggestions from people that have been through it to learn how to actually prevent or build on our identity, our value in life. So that's where we want to go, and we get there. It just takes time.
Yeah. So Glenn was just talking about low self-esteem. Okay. I had low self-esteem my whole life. I look confident. I don't know what I look like, but I know that I just didn't care. But I still had low self-esteem about myself.
Yep.
And so as time went on, if I just I saw different friends that I had, they had vehicles that were nice, uh, and I had to get that. Back in the 80s and the 90s, I had to have a jet ski. I had to have a truck, and I couldn't afford the payment. But in reality, what it comes down to is I got to be careful because as you're in recovery, your self-esteem it will it will lift. You'll start to feel confident about yourself. You start to feel good about yourself, and then as time goes on, you'll start to make healthy decisions, and instead of emotionally immature decisions. So that's why I say in the first year, as Glenn was saying, just the easy does it. Relax, take it easy, ask for advice, ask for help. And as time goes on, I know in my heart that from experience, it will get better as time goes on. Your thinking will be clearer, and you'll be able to make healthy decisions, and that way it won't be catastrophic to where it's, oh my gosh, what did I do? So when you're in recovery, you're not alone anymore. You're not alone. You can ask for help.
Yeah, it's funny, John. Yeah, that low self-esteem is a big one, and you know how I see myself. It's not really that good when we get in, but I used to say, you know, I didn't introduce myself as selfish, self-centered, arrogant, high-minded, you know, overreactive, temperamental, judgmental, you know, just to mention a few. And I would say it like that because that was the truth of the reality of what was walking in the doors in the beginning.
Right.
And so it's difficult to unlearn all that stuff, but getting to that self-esteem and understanding that, and specifically for me, if what I say to somebody specifically, whether it's my wife or anybody, if I'm telling the truth about something or I've said something in any way that's not false, but the person in return calls me a liar. See, what happens is that I believe that that's the way they view me, as a liar, and that is that's what affects me internally. This is now that I want to try to change. Instead of knowing that I didn't lie and knowing who I am, I want to try to change what they think, and I forcefully do it.
There it is.
I overreact. I impulsively react to, like, what do you mean?
Yes.
I'm not lying. And so this is a part of not, you know, in this low self-esteem and not knowing myself and being secure with myself. But these things come along the way. So eventually, if we can't say it enough, it's a process.
Process takes a long time. It truthfully is. I mean, there's so many stages that you go through in the beginning that, you know, it was all about manipulation and just trying to get whatever I wanted to get it. And that's where the impulse decisions came in. It didn't matter what it was. I was going to get it. And I see a lot of that in recovery, and that's okay because that's their journey. But God shows me in so many ways, like I hear, I see, and different people in recovery, and they're you know, they'll do those things, and you know, if they're kind of like I've had a relationship with them, I'll kind of go to them and talk to them, going, I don't know, man, I've done that already. You can try it, but it's not going to work. And 9 times out of 10, they'll either try it, fail, and come back and say, yeah, you're right. And so there's a process, and the process, it takes a long time. And so they used to tell me time. What does time stand for? Things I must earn. I have to, as I go through time in recovery, it's all about going through the motions, going through the process of learning how to instill these good behaviors into my life so that I can make healthy decisions. And it's going to take time. I'm telling you, I keep saying it over and over again. It has taken me a whole bunch of time to learn how to not be impulsive on my decision making. So yeah, Glenn touched on a bunch of different things that were just really good stuff. And so, hey, listen to this video a couple times, and what you'll find out is it'll start to register. And this, hey, try it. What do you have to lose, right? What do you have to lose by trying to ask for help? So I encourage you to do that.
Good stuff. Yeah, Johnny, good stuff. Yeah, man, we got a couple minutes, and I think I'll just finish up by saying that, you know, externally, our attempt to try to fulfill and satisfy an internal need externally, whether it's compulsive, impulsive spending, buying, or trying to control a relationship to try to satisfy something on the inside, that it don't work. We've tried it. We've done the research. So coming into my own and finding my own identity and my value It obviously, and eventually we're going to get there, and it comes through really step 3, and learning who I am and whose that I am, and picking up some true value and identity. It's the good things about me that I am, and we can stand on those things. So, but we try, Johnny. In the beginning, it don't work. We find out. So we finally, after enough beatings, we finally submit and realize that it's not externally, it's something internally.
Exactly. And so one of the things that Glenn was just talking about also is here's the greatest thing about being in recovery. There are a lot of us that have so many talents. Try to find what is your talent. There, you have something to give back that is a good talent. It could be guitar playing. It could be just being of service, a good leader, someone in the program that can coordinate stuff. It doesn't matter. You know what your talents are. So as time goes on, you can nurture that, and you'll feel better about yourself to where you can start making these decisions that are healthy, if that makes sense. So another thing we want you guys to do is please leave your comments and hit the like button. We love that. We want your feedback.
It looks like this, Johnny, right?
There it is right there. Yeah. So if you can do that, we would appreciate it, and it's right where we need to be in our journey of doing this podcast. And Glenn said we love our 5 subscribers, but that's okay. That's fine. If but as time goes on,
the message is going out. The
Yeah,
message is going out, and it's planting some seeds. It's beneficial. It's good.
Yeah, brother. I appreciate you.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Much love. Until then.